All right, I'm going to give a little brief introduction here. Good morning, everyone. My name is Amy Wolf. I'm the programming coordinator here at the Osterville Village Library. Thank you for joining us with this important conversation on scam prevention. Today, we're honored to welcome Detective Christopher Botsford of the Barnstable Police Department. Detective Botsford brings firsthand experience in investigating fraud cases that affect individuals, families, and businesses right here in our community. Scams are becoming more sophisticated every day through phone calls, emails, text messages, and social media. The good news is that knowledge is one of our strongest defenses. Detective Botsford will share practical insights, real-world examples, and clear steps we can all take to recognize red flags and protect ourselves and our loved ones. Please join me in welcoming Detective Botsford.
One quick thing, I do have an audio slide in here. Is speakers volume somewhere that
it works.
Oh, okay. Just in case it's too loud. Good morning. Like Amy has explained, my name is Chris Botsford. I've been a police officer with Barnstable for approximately 15 years and a detective for about 2 years now. My primary caseload deals with financial crimes, fraud, scams, any type of financial larcenies that take place in the town of Barnstable. Also helping out other agencies that have questions, search warrants, and other legal issues that come up. My friend here, Steve Barrett, he is a newly retired detective with the Barnstable Police Department. Turn it over to him and give his little spiel on who he is and what he's done.
Morning, folks. How are you?
Hi.
My name's Steve Barrett. I'm the Senior Financial Crimes Investigator for Cape Cod 5. Like Chris was saying, I'm recently retired from Barnstable Police. I did very similar work from him. I did specialize in digital forensics and financial crimes. I was also a task force officer with the Secret Service and their New England Cyber Fraud Division. A great deal of knowledge we share between us, and we'll stick around afterwards for any questions. So if you have personal stuff that you want to talk about, we'll stick around at the end. I know Chris changed the slide presentation here a little bit. I always like to talk about this at the beginning, where I like to start it off right off the beginning is to say, if you're a victim of a crime, you need to report it, okay? People get embarrassed by this. I can't believe I got taken by the scam or whatever it is. Report it, report it, report it. The police have options. You know, I'm not saying that you're guaranteed to get your money back, but they might be able to help you with some of it, right? So please report it. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. If somebody broke into your house, you'd call the police. If somebody talked you into one of these scams, it's important to call the police, all right? Do you know why they target the people that are in this room right now? No, not because you're old. It's because you have the money.
Oh, okay.
You think my 23-year-old kid is more savvy than the people in this room? No, but he doesn't have two nickels to rub together. That's not who they're going to target, right? They target the people that have the money. That's why they're targeting this demographic. It has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that you people are the ones that have money, and my kids and the kids don't, because a lot of the kids are getting taken by very similar scams or little different scams, but they're not losing the kind of money that people with money have, right? And it's equal opportunity, right? I mean, they take advantage of mostly people with good nature, right? Because they either make you feel bad about it, or they make you feel like you've done something wrong, or there's something good about you. It's funny because I had this conversation with my parents, and my mother says, "Oh, we would never fall for that." I said, "Why not?" Because we're not good people. I just hang up on them. I'm not going to fall for anything like that, right? So they're taking advantage of people's good nature. It's important to report it, please. If you don't walk away with anything else, is that if you get taken advantage of this, just report it. These people are so good at what they do. They're so convincing. We've had every kind of person, highly educated people fall for these. Don't be embarrassed by it. The police aren't going to tell your kids that you gave away $10,000. Just report it, all right? It's very, very important for the police to know about this. AARP, which, by the way, puts out great information on scams in the newspaper. I've been getting it since I retired, right? It's awesome. But they're lobbying some legislature on some of this stuff. But they estimate that less than 12% of these kinds of frauds that being reported. We need to bump those numbers up. Well, one of the funny statistics I've seen is that men are far less likely to report it than women. Right? Think about it, right? Because the guy's like, I'm just going to take the loss. I don't want to tell anybody I did this. Don't be embarrassed. I'm glad to see so many men in the room here today. If you fall for one of these things, report it. There's sometimes things that we can do to help. I now that I work for Cape Cod 5, I'm kind of on the other side of it. I see the banking side of it. I'm sharing that information with Chris, and it's been a real good partnership that the bank has with law enforcement. I had a good relationship with them when I was a detective, and now that I'm on that side of things, it's even better. So please report it.
Yeah, just quick, perfect example of reporting it. I'm working on a case right now where a company up here got scammed out of $127,000. Ended up their accountant wired money down to who I found out the lady in Florida that's being used as a money mule, which I'll explain later. And then going through her bank records, found another victim in Texas, and then reached out to them. They had never reported it, so they're in the process of right now getting part of their money back. But again, they never. I told them like, hey, you need to report this to your police department. So they did did do that.
Chris is doing an outstanding job. I taught him everything he knows. But we have been able to do some pretty good asset recovery out of Barnstable Police. My last 4 years there, I got back over $600,000 for victims. And Chris has picked up right where I left off, and he's doing asset recovery. The other thing is that this district attorney that we have now, Rob Galliboy, has been really good at extraditing some of these people when, because they're not in our state, right? It's not like somebody on the other side of Barnstable is calling you to scam your money. They're in another state or another country. When they're still in the United States, they've had some very successful cases. Chris can talk about one of the cases where he extradited somebody from New York City.
We'll touch base on that. So just a quick, this is our digital forensics lab. Steve and one of my other supervisors, Detective Conley, established this in 2020. We're one of, I think the state police has a version of theirs. But this is where we do all our phone forensics, all our computer forensics, any digital forensic stuff that we have in our department. And then also other agencies have been bringing devices to us to do examinations, DEA, all the other towns on the Cape.
One of the good things about this is a lot of this equipment that you see didn't cost the taxpayers of Barnstable any money at all. So our partnerships, like I said before, task force officer with the Secret Service. Chris is going down to their training facility as well, the National Computer Forensic Institute. When the Secret Service sends us down for training, they pay for everything. They book the airplane, they pay for the hotel, they pay for everything. And then when you're done with the training, any of the equipment that you need to do that job, they give you. So a lot of the equipment in this room was all given to the Barnstable Police by the federal government. All these tables here, I got from Stu Bornstein. He donated all the tables. This chair and table here, this is donated by Elliot from Jordan's, right? So we're very good at getting creative on how to fund some of this stuff. But to have a lab this quality in a small police department like we have is second to none.
Yeah, if we ask the town for money for this, they would laugh at us. But it's a necessary thing that we do, and we have cases to prove the funding, why we need to get the funding to keep this stuff up. The licenses alone for some of the software that we have are in the tens of thousands of dollars a year. So it's helpful to have those partnerships. So what is identity theft? Up here, it tells you about your name, address, birthday, anything that ties any personal information that you have that a scammer can use. These are information that is available, that's already out online on the dark web. People can buy, credit card numbers, they can buy social security numbers. All these things are available. Like you hear about it all the time. Companies have data breaches. Your data might be leaked out of those companies. It's all out there, unfortunately. So you need to be aware of that. And then scammers are using that information to now validate whatever company they say they work for, whatever organization, business, government they say they're gonna try to scam you. They're going to proof with all this information that they have. I know your name, I know your social security number, all this stuff to impart on you that they are who they say they are. And 99.9% of the time, it's all fraudulent. So what can scammers do with your information? Mainly it's financial abuse. They're going to open credit under your name. They're going to set up these elaborate scams to get you to provide banking information, credit card information. They're going to threaten you that there's some sort of legal issue that you either didn't show up for court or there's an arrest warrant up for your arrest, and you need to pay these fines to overcome those obstacles that they're saying. Unemployment scams, COVID scams were a thing during COVID. People would be going to, they had somebody's name, address, social security number, date of birth, all that. They'd go and file for unemployment during COVID. And then the actual person would then go to file and be like, hey, you already filed like 2 months ago. That wasn't me. So your information is out there. Any way that somebody can make a buck here and there, they've already thought about how they can do it. It's very elaborate. There's usually only a few people at the top of the pyramid that are running these major scams, and then it just funnels down. They have handlers that are instructed to do X, Y, and Z, and then those handlers reach out to other people involved in multi-layered scams, and then we get down to money mules. Those are usually you and I who are unwilling or unknowingly participating in these larger overall scams. And those are the ones that we usually identify right off the get-go because they use their name, they use their address, they use bank accounts that are tied to them. So when we do search warrants and get those records back, we can identify those people. And now it's, as investigators, working back up the chain of all the money to see where it goes.
What do you think the best way to prevent identity theft is? Have terrible credit. Nobody's going to be stealing your ID if you have terrible credit, right? We're going to go over some ways that you can protect yourself. But it's funny because nobody's saying, oh, geez, my credit score has gone up because somebody stole my identity, right?
Over the phone, everybody's gotten the phone calls. We get them 1,000 times a day. Random number calls you. The best advice that I can give and I'll beat it until we're done here, is don't answer the phone. The people that you talk to on a daily basis, your family, friends, relatives, whatever, I can almost guarantee you have them saved in your contacts as mom, dad, son, whatever. All these other numbers that pop up, just ignore them. If somebody is truly dead set on getting in touch with you, they're going to leave a message. Scammers aren't leaving messages. Most of these scams are done. They take thousands of phone numbers, they dump it into a computer, hit enter, and it just blasts out a robocall. And then as soon as you pick up, if you've ever noticed that it takes a few seconds for somebody to answer, that's when the computer is like, oh, somebody just answered that call. Let me transfer it to the real person. And then they start talking. They read off their script. So just don't answer it. You're never going to get left a robocall voice message from a scammer because they have thousands of other people that they're scamming, and it's just phishing. They're just throwing the bait out there until somebody takes the hook.
Chris is going over some of the most common scams, right? But there's no way for us to know. Law enforcement is very reactive. These guys have their whole imagination to come up with new ways on how to scam people. It's an industry. They're making billions and billions of dollars off of this. And just when, we go over one, everybody heard about the grandparent scam, right? So they gave up on those because people know about those now. They come out with something else. One of the big ones on the phone is your identity's been stolen by drug dealers in Mexico. And they have your social security number and they open bank accounts in your number. Tomorrow, we're going to seize all the money. I'm with the DEA. I'm not supposed to be calling you, but you need to move all your money or the government's going to seize it. They're very, very convincing in these things. And they've been very successful on Cape Cod with these, right? But if you can't tell anybody because I'll lose my job, don't tell anybody at the bank because I'm going to lose my job. But if you move the money today into this safe government account, you won't lose it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it, I better go do it. And they're so good at what they do. We had one woman and she says, I don't believe you. I want to talk to the Barnstable Police Department. I'm going to have the Barnstable Police call you. So another guy calls and says, I'm Chief Sonovan, Barnstable Police Department. I've been talking with the DEA agent such and such. I understand that your identity's been compromised. And this woman took all her savings and wired it to the safe account. We were able to get that money back, right? But it's important to report it. The quicker you report it, the easier it is.
Is that the Oxford food?
No.
Oh. So yeah, I had an exact case of this. A lady was wrapped up in 2 scams at the same time. The one that Steve kind of just talked about, this lady got a call from the DEA, said, I forget, something Tandy was the head of the DEA, called her and said that her information came up in an investigation in Texas or somewhere south on the border. And she ended up transferring $47,000 out of her bank account to her government safe account, which went to an account in New York that we were able to get identify who that person was that owned the account. Got video from the bank of them actually withdrawing the cash from the account. At the time, the lady that was doing it is a Chinese national, flew back to China, but we were able to get a extradition warrant so that if she did fly back to the U.S., they'd arrest her. And it was like a year later, she flew back into New York and they arrested her at the airport at JFK and then brought her back here for trial.
They sent her to Rikers.
Yeah. Not a nice place. I had to go pick her up. Not a nice place. But luckily through the DA's office, because again, a lot of this, the end goal for me in this stuff is getting people's money back, making them whole. You guys could care less if people get arrested or get charged, and then you never get your money back. The big thing is trying to get people's money back. So the part of this lady's condition of bail, if somebody was going to post her bail, was part of, or the money that she had stolen was going to be returned back to the victim. So there was $100,000 cash bail set on her. Somebody came with $100,000 to bail her out, and we took $47,000 of that back and got it to the victim. So in my opinion, she was a very valuable asset to whatever organization was doing that, because nobody's showing up with $10 for me to pay. So sweepstakes, lottery scams, Publishers Clearinghouse is kind of out the window. These are a little bit older. So this lady that I was just talking about, the other scam that she was involved in was Publishers Clearinghouse. She was told she won $1 billion and a brand new Mercedes in the sweepstake. She had to pay upfront to cover the taxes before they could send the funds to her. So over the course of like a year and a half, she ended up sending, I think it was like $167,000 in checks to multiple different people, that whoever was talking to her, instruct her to send multiple different checks to different people over time.
We've seen these ruin people's lives, really. Like, we've seen people take out mortgages on their house where they hadn't had a mortgage for 20 years. They're so convincing on the phone. Some of it was they send us like aluminum briefcase, right? And they say, oh, there's money in it. You just got to pay the rest of the thing, and we'll give you the combination for the briefcase. Obviously, it's full of papers. There's no money in that, right? But they're so convincing. They send you stuff in the mail that looks legitimate. It looks like any minute Ed McMahon's coming in with the big check, right? But he's not. It came so bad that, I was talking to a victim and she said, no. There's a brand new Cadillac. They're just in Mashpee. They're almost here. They're so good at what they do. If they weren't good at what they do, they'd be doing something else.
So yeah, this only got reported because she started taking money out of her husband's retirement account, and he's the one that was like, "Why, why'd you just take $40,000 out of my retirement account?" And then it all unfolded that this had happened. Even while I was sitting in her living room explaining the whole scam to her, and she was still adamant that she won Mega Millions clearinghouse. So I used to talk about this as romance scams. It kind of is, but Steve had mentioned in our last presentation that it's basically relationship scams.
These people have legitimate relationships with these people, right? They're on the phone with them for hours every day. We were talking before the presentation started. This feels like a real relationship to these people, right? They could be sitting at home, lonely, and then somebody's talking to him for 6 hours a day, and then says, I really want to come see you. Can you send me some money? These are really tough. So one of the things I'll get, a parent falls victim to one of these, and then their adult children come and say, how do I prevent this from happening? Do I take away mom's phone? Do I stop giving my father mail? It's like, be part of your parents' life. You know what I mean? Like, I talked to my parents enough where they were falling victim to these things. I don't have to call them up every day and say, hey, you've fallen victim to a scam today. No, I would know a change in their pattern of life. If all of a sudden my mother says, oh, we went to the bank 3 times this week, I'd be like, red flags would be popping up. Like, what's going on? How come you're going to the bank when they never go to the bank, right? But the other tough part with this is we'll have adult children come and say, dad's being taken advantage of. He's in one of these romance scams, relationship scams, and he keeps sending this person money. And I go talk to dad, and he's like, I talk to her 6 hours a day. And it like, okay, well, you're being scammed. It doesn't matter. Somebody's keeping me company for 6 hours a day. And you tell the kids, like, listen, unless you deem your parent incapacitated in some way, they can spend their money on whatever they want. This is somebody keeps them company 6 hours a day. So to the person that's on, to the victim on this, they're in a relationship, right? They're talking to somebody all the time. They're talking about their whole lives with them. So this is people, especially that are lonely, that are sitting home alone, they're very susceptible to these kind of things.
Steve and I are working on a case right now that I explained earlier. A company in town has been communicating with their accountant over email, and at some point their email got compromised, and now fake invoices were being sent to the account to pay out through their accounts, and money, $127,000 got sent to 4 different bank accounts for these fake invoices. So I've gotten search warrants back on that, and 2 of them, 2 of the banks that I've actually reached out to the people that open the accounts like days before the transfers have gone in. And one lady's down in Florida, and she's, told me the whole story. She's been talking to some guy that's stuck in the UK for the past 5 years. She's been wiring him money. She's been wiring him cryptocurrency. He's asked her to open up these accounts. Like, she opened up fake bank accounts with fake businesses names. They created LLCs for these companies. Like, this is super elaborate. And this is just the tip of the iceberg for my case. I can't imagine over 5 years how many other victims she's been laundering money through. So these are what we call the money mules. These are people that think they're, not doing anything illegal. They're trying to help somebody out. The story that he presented to her was that he was robbed while he was in the UK. He was in a coma for, X amount of days or months. And then now he's struggling. He doesn't have his passport, doesn't have any way to get back to the US. He's like convinced her to talk to several other people, like his attorney, he's wired money to her, which ends up being the money that was stolen from our victim here. And then she was instructed to send it to several other banks. She was instructed to cash out money. Luckily, she told me that she was sitting on a check for $150,000 from a cashier's check that we're able to seize and get money returned to a victim. And then also that other victim I spoke about down in Texas. And also she cashed out $10,000, stuffed it in a stuffed animal, and mailed it off to some guy in Idaho. Luckily, we were able to get in touch with FedEx, and we intercepted that package, and they were able to get the money.
These are very elaborate stories. We've had victims of this in our town. We had one lady who was receiving boxes of money. And, okay, she was a woman like in her 70s, and she was getting scam funds mailed to her, and Postal Service came down and said, Steve, would you come with me to this lady's house, find out what's going on? And I go there, and she's taking these boxes of money and going to the Bitcoin ATMs. We're going to talk about those later, and putting it in there. I'm like, well, where's this money coming from? Oh, my friend's husband is on an oil rig, and she doesn't have any Bitcoin ATMs near her. Well, how long have you had this friend? I've known her for 4 or 5 years. Have you ever met her in person? Well, no. I know her through words with friends, right? But to her, it's a legitimate relationship. People who have these friends online, they're legitimate relationships. She thought that her friend, and to me, I'm like, okay, that sounds like a semi-reasonable explanation. right? She's not giving up any of her money. She's getting boxes of money. She puts it in a machine for this poor woman who doesn't live near a Bitcoin ATM. So you get people that are doing this, and mostly, like I said at the beginning, people with good nature. They're just looking to help people, right?
So text message scams, we've all gotten a text message, an easy pass that was going around for a while that, your vehicle hit easy pass, you owe whatever dollars amount. Easy pass doesn't work that way. They just take a picture of your license plate and then mail you a bill at the registered address of the car, vehicle. PayPal, my father-in-law fell victim to a PayPal scam. He got a notice from PayPal that said there was a $90 transaction. If you didn't authorize this, call this number. So he ends up calling the number, spends 4 hours on the phone with PayPal, and then is convinced to get $2,000 in Nike gift cards and takes pictures of the Nike gift cards and texts the person who's saying it. So as soon as he got off the phone, it's like that's when the light bulb clicked on. Like, I just got scammed. They're so good at what they do. There's urgency that they put on this. You have to do this now, or your bank's going to get closed, or you're going to get arrested, or some other urgency that they don't have. They don't allow you to have time to stop and think about some of this stuff.
When somebody's on the phone telling you to lie, so that should be a red flag, right? There's always some sort of urgency. There's always to lie. Never lie to your bank, all right? I'm telling you, like, if you go into a bank and you're going to take out large sums of money, they make you do this whole form, saying that you're not being scammed, you're not putting in a Bitcoin ATM. They ask you a bunch of questions, but you're so convinced by the people on the phone that the people at the bank are trying to scam you that you lie, right? And it's like, just try to put 10 seconds of trust in the people that you know, that the same amount of trust you're doing to the stranger on the phone.
Yeah, I mean, the banks, even now, we've talked to businesses in town that, Stop and Shop that has gift cards. Like, every place has gift cards. Even some of those places now are getting into the habit of asking, like, somebody shows up with, 5 gift cards and you want to put $10,000 on a bunch of different gift cards. Like, some of the cashiers are now been trained to ask, like, oh, what's this for? Just to have that conversation. But yeah, it's
nobody legitimate is going to be asking for gift cards over the phone. Yes, sir.
As far as the Easy Pass goes, how do the people get, if they get the license plate number, how do they get the name to attach to that?
All that stuff can be bought. Everything can be bought. So everything can be bought online. So we have, as police officers, we have software programs that we use to do investigations. Those same software programs, companies can buy access to all your information. So anytime you, all your utilities, your gas, electric, all that stuff is all online, available for people. If they want to spend the money, they can spend the money to buy that information. You are now company's products. They don't care about what they're selling. You are now their product, and they're selling your information. It comes down to the bottom line.
Well, how is Google $1 trillion company? Yeah. Right? They don't charge you anything for
some of it search information. Some of it is available at a purchase price. Like, for example, if you go, I can't remember the website. It's like findmyfriends.com or whatever. It's some, like, you can search for long lost friends or whatever. You go and you put their name in, and then it gives you, like, oh yeah, we found these people that might be it. Does this person age range look like the person? You click on it, and then you can pay a price, $20 to get a record of them. You can look up people's criminal history records, driving records, vehicle records. You got to think about anytime information is put in a computer or a database, like, that information is stored somewhere, and somebody has access to it. Somebody has leaked that information on the dark web. Credit card information, it's all out there available.
The Easy Pass one is very, very common. It's something that you're like, oh, okay, I owe money, right? It's easy to. I almost fell for it myself. So they're very convincing.
Yeah. The same thing with, like, any of these text, like, anything you get a phone call or a text message, you need to verify. Don't verify it with the number that they tell you to call. Don't verify it with the text message that they're texting you to verify it. Go on the back of your debit card, your credit card, log into your bank account online to verify that, money's missing, money's not there, call the bank on the back of your credit card, go into a branch that you deal with locally, talk to them. All these numbers that they use are computer generated numbers. There's billions of numbers, and blocking a spam or a scammer's phone number is not going to do anything. They're going to call you from 30 other different numbers that they have. So don't waste your time trying to like block numbers or take me off the do not call list, because they're just going to call you on 42 other numbers. The 1-800 thanks for your cash, that's not a real phone number. But that's basically what it is like, hey, this is something suspicious, call us and then give us all your information in order.
This is all very big business, right? A lot of this is very organized. The Jamaican lottery scam, that's run out of Jamaica. The people that are running those scams are now more powerful than the drug dealers. There's more money to get to scam Americans than there is to sell drugs. If you can kind of wrap your head around that, that's like crazy to me, right? But it's so much money that they're siphoning from our economy that the drug dealers are now moving over to this.
Yeah, that's the whole like drug epidemic and all those other epidemics that come like this. I think on a day-to-day basis, I think we deal with scams and frauds more than we deal with any other crime. At least, like, my phone is ringing constantly about, hey, somebody just reported this, or hey, I got a question about this, and it's a constant thing. Gift cards. I can't make this slide any larger. I wish I could. Don't use gift cards unless you are like getting a gift card for your niece or nephew and you're like physically handing it to them in person, like in an envelope. Don't no legitimate business is asking for Apple gift cards or Google Pay gift cards to pay off a legal fine or some of
your electricity is going to be shut off today.
Yeah,
unless you give us Apple gift cards. And they make it sound very legitimate. It's very urgent. You don't want to get your power shut off, so you go buy Apple gift cards. It's a scam. And
these are the things they're in. If that's the scam that they're running, your utility's going to get turned off. Then they say, hey, when you go buy these gift cards at CVS, tell in the cashier ASPA, say you're getting it for your nephew Johnny, Johnny Smith for his birthday. That's coming up. They're going to give you an excuse of what to say because they already know a bank's going to ask you questions. Some businesses where you buy these gift cards are going to ask you questions. There's so many red flags that they are trying to overcome those as much as they can. The biggest thing, like the takeaway, like when I get to the end, like just ask somebody else, ask your neighbor, ask your friend, call your son or daughter, like ask somebody else. Because my father-in-law did this to me the other day. He's like, hey, I got a question. And like right out, like just the way he like had the tone with it, I just said it's a scam. He's like, I haven't even asked you. And he's like, I got the text message scam. I'm like, well, some lady said that she knows me from years ago. I'm like, it's a scam. I don't know how else to explain. And he's like, really? I'm like, yes. And he showed me the text, and it was like, hey, how you doing? I'd love to get in touch with you. I haven't seen you in a while. Like, it's just, and that's how those relationship scams start. People are lonely. They don't have anybody else to talk to. And then somebody's reaching out to them. Oh, great. I want to talk to them. They start a conversation. They're not going to ask you for your bank account, like right off the bat. They're going to build that relationship, build that trust. And then they'll be like, hey, I traveled to whatever country. I need to send money back. And that's how they get in there. Once they get in there, it's, like I said, this lady's in Florida has been wrapped in it for 5 years. I mean, I can't imagine how much money she's sent through her accounts. So don't use gift cards. Bottom line. How to avoid financial abuse. This is the older generation. I don't pick on them, but you guys are very respectful of everybody. Years ago, everybody had a landline phone. There was no caller ID. There was no voice message. There was no text message. Like you could probably count on one hand, like how many people had your home phone number, right? It was your neighbor, your relatives, aunts, uncles, close people. So when the phone rang, you swore you knew who was calling you and you answered it and you're like, hey, Jimmy, whatever. You knew exactly who it was. And the scammers are using this to their advantage. They know that if it's like Pavlov's dog, the salivating dog, like every time the dog hears the bell, you immediately do that. So anytime the phone rings, I got to answer it and see who it is. This is what they do. They call knowing that 90% of people are going to answer the call because they've just been ingrained in their head that the phone rings, I'm going to answer the call. And then once they got you, that's when the script starts and they start the conversation and it's snowballs from there. So just hang up the phone. Don't answer it. If it doesn't come up as your son or daughter or somebody that you know in your contacts, just don't answer it. I think it's pretty. Yes.
I had one call from, it said Navy Federal Credit Union fraud. And they were calling to warn me. It looked like something.
So the other flip to this is you can spoof phone numbers. So I can call you from my phone, but it's going to show up as, Cape Cod 5's phone number. There's apps
all the time at the gallery.
Yeah, there's apps out there that you can spoof somebody's number. We've done it in the office.
We've done it to each other.
Yeah.
Hey, the chief's calling you.
Yeah. So again, that's where we get to if it comes up that Cape Cod 5 is calling you and they're like, hey, there's a problem. We just detected something on your account. You need to, transfer this money into this account right now. Blah, blah. Hang up the phone. Drive to the bank. Call the number on the back of your card.
All the banking centers, it doesn't matter which bank it is, they're happy to see you, right? That people don't go into the bank like they used to, right?
Yeah.
So if you go in there with a problem, they'd much rather have you go in there before you send money somewhere than to send the money and then go in afterwards.
Yeah, it's a lot.
One of the other things, safeguarding personal information. This here, right? We got people shredding their electric bill because they think somebody's going to steal that information. But then you write a check to your landscaper. Everything on that check is all they need. So if a bad guy gets a copy of a check that has your routing number, account number, even knows what sequence you're in, right? They can go to Staples and buy check stock, right? So you got to start getting off this writing checks thing, right? Use online banking, much safer than writing a check, right? Even the people that can't receive online banking, but Cape Cod 5 and I know several other banks, when they generate a check, it's not your account information on it. It's bank information on there. So that when the person on the other end gets the check, they don't have your account number and your routing number and everything else.
Yeah, perfect example of this. I had a case where a gentleman had an employee working for him that he had to let go. It was right before the holidays, just going back a little while, and he felt bad, so he wrote the guy $1,000 check to help him out, buy gifts for his kids for the holidays. 5 years later, he reports to the police that his bank accounts people have been taking money out of his bank accounts. He had no idea how it happened. So, through an investigation, he found out that the guy that he gave the check to 5 years ago had his routing number and bank account number and was setting up his utility bills, his phone bills, his water bill, car payments, all through online payments using his routing and bank account number. Shame on him that he didn't check on it.
So most businesses have what they call positive pay, which is, there's a database at the bank. Somebody goes to cash a check. It was written for $25 and they're trying to cash it for $1,000. It won't go through, right? But the everyday person, like I don't have that on my checking account. I don't write checks anymore. The other thing is like we had in this town, people stealing them right out of your mailbox, right? Well, what do people do? You leave it in your mailbox overnight with the big flag up saying there's something really important in this box, right? And people can steal it out of your box. May not be the landscaper, but it might be somebody that gets it in transit.
So check your credit reports. You can lock your credit through 3 major companies.
This is important. It's called freezing your credit. You can Google it, right? It's really important you do with all 3 credit agencies. I've done it to everybody in my family. I've frozen the credit. All it does is it prevents somebody from opening up a new account with your social, right? So if I know that I'm not buying a new car this week, right? I freeze my credit. When I'm going to go buy the new car, I unfreeze it. I buy my car and then I freeze it again, right? How often are we opening up a new account? Seriously, right? We have our credit cards we have our Macy's card. If I'm going to go open up a new one of those, I just unfreeze it for a day or 2 and then freeze it back up. This way, nobody else can open an account.
Yes.
I got a letter from TD Bank one time saying that they were sorry, but they couldn't open up the credit card that I had requested. And I called them because I never requested it. And somebody had actually done that. And if I hadn't frozen my account, they would have gotten caught.
Yeah, great example of it for the people that are watching the recording. She's talking about she got contacted by a credit card company that they couldn't go through with their credit card application. She had never applied for one. So it's important to freeze your credit. Everybody go home and do that today.
This is a perfect example of like what scammers are looking for. And to think about it, like you could have had your information stolen months ago, and it's just sitting in a depository somewhere. Your information is just sitting there, and then all of a sudden you get, like you said, you get that alert. Like your information could have been stolen months or even years ago, and now all of a sudden somebody's accessing it and using that. So another thing, locking your credit. A lot of debit cards and credit cards now, you can go on your mobile apps or your online applications and lock your credit cards. Like my credit cards, I don't even use my credit cards most of the time. I use like Apple Pay. Google Pay has another version for Android. So that basically is obfuscating that number for your credit card. So I can still lock my physical credit card. So if somebody had that number, they're not going to be able to use it. But I can still use Apple Pay that's connected to that credit card because it's a different form of payment, but it's still connected to the bank. So I don't have to keep unlocking my credit card every time I use it. I can just keep it locked and then use Apple Pay. And then if someplace doesn't use Apple Pay, I can unlock it on my phone.
Why would Apple Pay be more secure than your credit card?
Because Apple itself is for law enforcement to try to get information from Apple is like jumping through hoops because they're so protective of their information, their privacy. We can talk about like iPhone versus Android. iPhones are what we call closed source information. So it's not, they restrict a lot of who is able to access their information, who's able to write apps for their devices. Android is open source, open source. So anybody and their mother can create an app for Android devices.
The other thing is that I know it's scary, right? When I first started using Apple Pay, I was like, this is kind of crazy, right? But you've heard of skimmers before. Everybody hear about card skimmers. So those read the magnetic strip on your credit card, right? You can't do that with Apple Pay, right? The tap to pay can't be skimmed like a credit card can. It's actually, it seems weird, but it is more secure.
So I have
As far as do not click open links, I got one this morning before we came here that I didn't recognize, but I opened just to get to see who it was from, and it said call, and you've been scammed.
Yeah.
It's just opening that.
No, so just by opening the email is not going to trigger any execution or command what you're doing. It's the link that is usually embedded in that email address.
You have to do what they ask.
Yeah. So Apple, again, talking Apple security, it's very difficult if you open a link in an Apple device, either a MacBook or desktop, Apple computer, your iPhone, they're not those programs. They're called executable programs. So as soon as you click a link, it automatically downloads stuff. Like you're not seeing it do it. It's just downloading it in the background and uploading a virus. Apple is a very secure infrastructure that they're not allowing a lot of those malware viruses onto those devices. Windows, like Microsoft PCs, stuff like that, they're a little bit more because they're open network. So it's easier for scammers to have the infrastructure and how that stuff works to be able to get stuff bypassed.
If you're using your home computer a lot, invest in some antivirus, right? I know there's free stuff out there. My thing is you get what you pay for, right? I want to pay for it because if something goes wrong, I'm going to call somebody and complain, right? So whatever the $50 a year or whatever it is for antivirus software, get the antivirus software on your computer. Something robust that's going to catch that kind of stuff. We gotta slow down on the questions because they asked us to stay on track for the people that we're recording for, and then we'll stick around afterwards and we'll answer as many questions as you want, and we could talk to you offline too.
So get involved, prevent and report. This is kind of that mindset you need to get into about putting stop to wire transfers. Like, I can't, a general, regular, everyday person, I can't find a reason why you need to send a wire transfer. Just the other day, I had two that came in one day. For one guy was buying a 1970 Camaro online. It was instructed to wire money to this auto dealership. I don't even know where it was. So wired money down there, and then like as soon as he left the bank, he's like, "Yeah, I don't think I should have done that," and then reported it to us.
Talk to your bank. Make sure you call your bank if you fall for one of these wire scams. The bank can try to do a recall on the wire. That sometimes successful, sometimes not. The quicker that you report it, the more likely the money's still going to be there.
Don't answer the phone or text from any, like, I can't say it enough. Like, just don't answer the phone. If somebody needs to get in touch with you, they'll either leave a voice message or they'll find another way to get in touch with you. Scammers aren't usually like bombarding you with like multiple different angles to get in touch with you. They're just gonna, it's not worth their time. If you don't answer the first time, they're just gonna move on to the next person, and the next person. There's enough people out there that are gonna fall for it that they're not gonna waste their time trying to get in touch with you in multiple different ways. Putting fraud alerts on the 3 credit reporting companies. Shred old credit cards. So I just put in do not mail. So sometimes banks will send you a little mailer to mail your, if you get mailed new credit cards, they'll send, hey, put your old ones back here, mail it out. Don't even bother with that. So we had a couple in Marston's Mills that somehow got convinced that the bank was calling them, that their account got compromised somehow. They needed to get new debit cards issued. They're like, all right, yeah, cool, that's great. And then they're like, all right, you need to put your cards in an envelope in the mailbox. We're gonna have a courier come by and pick them up. You want to, while we're at it, do you want to keep the same PIN number? And the lady was like, yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Within an hour, the cards had been taken out of the mailbox, and then ATM transactions at banks in the Mills, and then in Sandwich, and then off Cape within like 2 hours. So these scams, these people are showing up to people's houses. Like Steve has explained, people have been told to put thousands of dollars in boxes, and we're going to have somebody come pick it up, and people have been picking it up. Uber and Lyft has been used as a mechanism to go pick up packages, because now you can order or you can schedule an Uber to pick up a package somewhere for you and have it delivered somewhere else. So these people are, they might be organizing this from, Israel, but they're having people on the ground in the U.S. like do their dirty work for them. And they don't even know that they're doing it sometimes illegally.
Chris went over this real quick. The credit reporting companies. So on top of freezing, you can pay a subscription with these companies, right? And they'll notify you if there's any activity. And all 3 of them are good. I do Experian, right? So if just from seeing people's lives get ruined by this, it's such a nightmare to try to fix your credit after your identity's been stolen. I pay the money. I pay the $50 a year or whatever for Experian, and if there's some activity, they notify me, and if something gets screwed up, I pay for a subscription. They help me get it, fixed. So I just pay the money. It's short money for what could happen if somebody steals your identity, right?
Remote access applications. This really only applies to like desktop or laptop computers that you might have in your house. Again, you might see those pop-ups like, hey, Microsoft detected a virus, call this number, click this link, whatever. Those can typically be the start of a scam. That malware, that virus that made that pop up on your computer might have been installed months ago, and there might have been a timer set on it that, hey, in 3 weeks and 7 days, this message is gonna pop up, and then hopefully somebody's gonna call.
This has been very popular, and this has hit our community pretty hard, right? You go to your computer one day, pops up, says you got a virus. Call this number, we're gonna fix it. You call the number, you give them remote access to this. Next thing you know, they're checking your bank accounts. They have everything. We had a couple in our town years ago. They fell for this. They ended up moving $52,000 to Thailand. Right, $52,000 to Thailand. When they went to the bank, they were told to lie. They told the bank that they were moving it, they were wiring the money for antiquities. At the time, I was a detective. I had a very good relationship with the bank. Cape Cod 5 called me directly. I think one of our clients are being scammed. They're in the middle of it right now. I drove to their house. Now, I was in plain clothes like Chris is dressed today. And I had my badge around my neck. I had my partner with me. And they were still on the phone with the scammers. They said, "You're not real police officers." Because I was driving an undercover cop. I'm a detective. I'm not driving a mock cruiser. I had to get a cruiser with a uniform officer at the house before they believed me that the person standing in their driveway was an actual police officer. In that case, I filed what they call a kill chain on the international wire through our federal partners. I had somebody at the bank in Thailand the next morning, and I filed a police report with the Royal Thai Police, and we were able to get the money back.
So yeah, Steve talked about kill chain. There's process that we can do. The Secret Service can do it. The FBI can do it. Secret Service works with the Treasury, the part of the Treasury, so they have the ability to do it. It's a process where it's tough because there's a minimum allowance that the feds will get involved. So I think it's like $25,000 if it's a domestic. I think any international stuff, I think it's a little less than that. But they are able to basically send out a notice to the receiving bank to stop, basically stop the wire and have it recalled back to the originating bank. So
those are only international wires. Kill chains are only for international wires because they take a little bit longer. Everything gets funneled through Mellon Bank in New York.
So we talked about, the way that this scam is set up, that the pop-up comes up, you call the number, they're going to walk you step by step through how to download that remote application. The remote application is not illicit in itself. It's used to do their illicit activity. I have a remote application on my laptop, so I can remote in back to my computer at work if I need to. But they're going to use that to remote in. They oftentimes you can blank out the screen, so you're just staring at a black screen while they're digging through everything. Or even better, they probably just capture all your data on your computer, save it to wherever file they need to save it to, and then the screen will pop up and like, all right, we fixed your virus, you're all set. Or they might even reach out and be like, hey, thanks, I fixed it. It's now you need to send, $200 to this account, or it costs whatever.
Yeah, well, one of the ones that like he's talking about, they'll say, okay, it costs $200. And then when you're typing the $200 in, they add a bunch of zeros, right? And you're like, oh my gosh. And the guy on the phone is going to say, you gave us too much money. So you need to send it back to us. And you need to wire it to us and give you the wire instructions. They make you feel like you've done something wrong. If something pops up on your computer, says you got a virus, what are you going to do? Unplug the thing. Bring it to somebody who knows better than us in this room, right? The Staples, the Best Buy, or whoever fixes your computer, and say something popped up that said I had a virus. Microsoft is not going to pop up and say, hey, we're going to help you with this, right? Whenever a big company is going to be helpful, be skeptical.
Yeah, so most standalone like desktop computers are usually like plugged in with a hardwired cable for your internet, but then like most laptops are on Wi-Fi. So if something like that happens, jump off your Wi-Fi network. So you don't have internet access and they can't remote into your computer. This is kind of the same thing with the remote applications, the tech support scams. Again, you get a pop-up. They'll, jump on in and say, hey, we'll help you out. They'll walk you through it. It's like we said, it's $1 billion industry. People are very easily believable and scammed into these, that they're just giving away thousands and thousands of dollars. Like we said earlier, your demographic is largely targeted because you have the money to take. The younger generation is still targeted. They have it's called now sextortion. Relationship scams are the same way. They develop a relationship on some sort of social media platform. It gets transferred over to another social media platform. They get asked to send pictures of themselves that are illicit pictures, and then all of a sudden that person say, hey, I'm going to send this to your entire family if you don't pay me money. That's kind of the scams that the younger generations are dealing with right now. In the process of putting a presentation together to hopefully get to the high school to be able to explain to them, because we're seeing a lot a lot of issues, that age range, of kids just said like, they can't think 2 seconds in front of them. I mean, they're sending pictures online, and once that thing's online, it's on there forever. And then if somebody bad gets a hold of that and they share it, like the amount of times that it gets shared and shared and shared, there's no way to clean that off the internet ever. So
I'm glad I was young before all this stuff,
Yeah.
right? I'm glad I was able to be a teenager without having to worry about stuff getting posted forever online.
Cryptocurrency, I'm sure everybody's heard about it. Does anybody do crypto? Good, let's keep it that way. I have it. Investigating these crimes, I was interested in trying to find out how it all works. Steve was the guru behind it. It got me kind of like trying to translate it. It's like trying to learn Chinese, basically. Like, I don't understand it. So like I bought $10 of crypto and I made $2 in it the past couple of years. So but that's about as far as I've gone.
I've lost a lot of money in crypto lately, so.
But not to scams, hopefully.
No.
But it's digital currency. It's not something tangible that you can hold like cash. It's digital currency. It goes up and down. It's like stocks. I mean, one day it could be worth, 80,000. I think Bitcoins. I haven't looked, but it's usually around $80,000-$90,000. The Bitcoin.
60.
Oh, it's down to 60. Oh, jeez. So again, don't do crypto. So that's the thing. You put in money, and then next week it's like stocks. It drops, and then you're out money already.
But the bad actors are using this, right?
Yeah, this stuff is. Most of the scams that I've investigated now, there's some sort of cryptocurrency factor into it. Whether it's right off the rip, somebody's telling a victim, "Hey, go take out money, invest it in this." Like a lady in Osterville got scammed. She got a text from Elon Musk wanting to invest with him, so she got taken for about $80,000. And it was very elaborate. Like it was a web for me to find out where all this money is going to, because they had her open up accounts with cryptocurrency. It's crypto.com, which is an online digital currency platform. They had her open up bank accounts in New York to transfer money from her personal account to that account, to then convert it into crypto through Cash App, then back into crypto.com, and then send out to multiple different wallets. It's very elaborate. And the stuff with these wallets, they're called crypto wallets. It's basically, think of like cash. Like you have a piece of paper in your pocket with a QR code. That's your wallet. That's where your crypto is being stored. If you lose that, it's gone forever.
These Bitcoin ATMs, we have quite a few in this town. They're a menace. I wish we could get rid of all of them. If you talk to your town councilors, I'd love to see an ordinance passed. Some other towns have passed ordinances to remove them. Everybody in this room should look at those Bitcoin ATMs like we did back in the day on Stranger Danger. Remember that? When you see a Bitcoin ATM, you should be thinking about the guy in the van saying, "Hey, can you help me find my puppy?" Right? If you see one of your friends near one of these things, stop them, because they're getting scammed. No legitimate cryptocurrency investors gonna put money in one of these Bitcoin ATMs. They take almost 30%. Right? What kind of investment is that if you lose 30% when you first put it in? If you're investing in cryptocurrency legitimately, you're going to be using an online account. It's going to be through a legitimate means, not by putting money in the Bitcoin ATM. The people in this area have lost way too much money putting their money into one of those Bitcoin ATMs, because as soon as the cash is in there, boom, it's gone.
So we have the ability through investigative ways to trace the wallets and see where they go from. You send it, it's like a 16 alphanumeric digit code that's the wallet. So we can put it in a software program. It says, all right, money went to this wallet, and then it splits to these two wallets, and then it splits to these two other wallets, and we can able to trace it back. So the crypto stuff, a lot of the crypto companies are overseas, and some of them will cooperate with law enforcement. The good sense is that they don't need legal process. Some of them, you can just send them a letterhead requesting KYC, which is know your customer information. So some of these companies are doing their due diligence and making people legitimately go through a process of like having their passports uploaded so they can have a identification of who these people are. I've gotten photographs of passports back from companies from overseas of where the money's cryptocurrency's been sent to.
I worked one of these cases and they actually sent me the picture of the man on the other end pulling the money out of the ATM. And he's in a Nigerian village and you can see like huts behind him. And you're like, oh my God, like there's a Bitcoin ATM in this village in Nigeria. You've seen the picture. It shows people like in a little outdoor classroom. And I'm
Like
like,
National Geographic. You
Yeah.
see the picture. It's like it's that this ATM.
Yeah.
Like how it's powered is probably a generator.
Yeah.
I would imagine. So don't use crypto. Like Steve said. So I think there's like 8 or 9 in town right now. We're trying to get town council to ban those. It's not illegal to have them. There's no other legitimate purpose than for scammers to use this. And the only reason that they're in communities around here is because the business owners get money for having those there. Like it's just the machine that sits in the corner and they get paid for it to just sit in a corner.
so Maine successfully passed legislation to ban them from their state. And they sued them and got a $1.2 million settlement from the companies to reimburse victims. They're up at the State House now. They're trying to pass something. They haven't done it yet. I saw an interview with one of the legislatures and they said, oh, these things take time. I don't know anybody who's going to be for, people be getting defrauded, right? Both sides of the aisle should be voting for this. AARP is up in Boston trying to at least lobby for a 48-hour hold on these to give law enforcement a chance to get the money back. Because most people within a couple hours realize they just been scammed. So even a 48-hour hold would benefit us, where the law enforcement would at least have an opportunity to undo something.
So this is a crypto scam that I worked on. The lady got a text message right off the bat. It can tell you this is from an international phone number just based on the 6 digits up front. Pending Apple Store charge. Obviously, she didn't do it. So they have her call a phone number, call this 818 number. Then thank you. They did some verification that was the account. And then she ends up sending $8,000 US into a Bitcoin ATM. So this is the wallet address right here. This long alphanumeric digit right here. That's the wallet address.
So if you or somebody you know ends up falling victim to one of these, this piece of paper is crucial to the police. Because without this piece of paper, we have no idea where the money went. So if one of your friends calls you and said, I got scammed, whatever you do, don't destroy this. Make sure you get that to the police.
Yeah, so like I said, like if this is your wallet and you lost this digit here, like that money is gone forever. I can imagine there's probably some estimated billions of dollars of cryptocurrency that's just in the ether and nobody has access to get back to it.
Is that Apple number and support email for legitimate or
No.
not? Okay,
No.
they want it.
So again, we have the ability we can run phone numbers and find out who they belong to, whether it's AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, or a lot of the times we see IntelliQuint, which is kind of what we call like burner phones. Numbers, you don't need to provide any information, like personal information that's your phone number. But again, like I have a Google Voice account that I use for work. So I make up a fake Google email address. They give you a phone number. Like there's nothing that's tying back to me. The only thing that's tying back to me is the IP address where I created it is legitimate. But scammers are using VPNs, which is masking their true identity of where they are on the internet. So they could, if I wanted to be really, really sneaky and get a VPN, say I'm in, Asia somewhere or whatever, or another state, California, and then everything's going to go back to there and it's going to be a dead end. So a lot of these online internet investigations that we do, a lot of people are using VPNs. We'll end up sending subpoenas to Comcast or whoever the internet service provider is, and get records back that it's in somewhere else. It's Mickey Mouse that owns the account. Google's another big one. We do subpoenas and search warrants to Google all the time. And I mean, if you have a legitimate, there's a lot of information that they could provide to us if people like filled out stuff. But again, it's not required to fill anything out.
always research your own number, never go off of some text message, right? If you get a text message saying, this is Cape Cod 5, call us at this number. Just go look at the back of your card, or just call the local banking center, or walk into your local banking center, right? Just because it says it's Apple, Google Apple helpline, and you get the real number, right?
Yeah. So funny but not funny, the lady down in Florida that I reached out to, again, has been scammed for the past 5 years. And then all of a sudden I call her to explain that she's been scammed for the past 5 years. And now she thinks I'm scamming her. Like I just called you out of the blue, telling you who I am, what I'm doing. We had surveillance video of her car at an ATM in Florida taking out money. I sent her the picture. I'm like, this is your vehicle at the ATM. Like, I did a search warrant to your account. That's how I got your information. And she's like, nope, you're scamming me. I'm like, blows my mind how I have a 10 minutes conversation. She thinks I'm scamming her, but she can talk to this guy. Apparently I didn't have enough bedside manner.
He had to get a deputy show up at her house.
Yeah, I had to call the sheriff's department down in Florida to go to the house with it's still in the process, and she's still texting me to this day, thinking it's a scam. So job recruitment scams, this is how people start to get involved in being money mules. So whatever these scams, this is from Indeed, the other one's from Amazon recruiting team. So they're going to have you do these, great jobs that you're only going to work a couple hours a day and you're going to make tons of money. Like that. Does that sound like it's legitimate? Like if I could work an hour a day and make the same amount that I make in a week, that'd be great. I'd do it.
Sign me up.
Yeah, let's do it. But these are the ways that they get you to either provide your banking information to these companies, or they're going to have you set up a business account because you're working for business now, and they're just funneling stolen money from some other victim into those your payment, and then they're going to have you like, oh, we sent you the wrong amount, send this amount to this account. We had a guy in Centerville, this was the same thing. Ended up being in so much debt, did one of these text message recruiting things, went to talk to him, like, hey, how long you been working with the business? How do you get paid? He's like, well, I get paid through my phone. And I'm like, well, how do you do that? He's like, well, they had me set up this crypto account. I'm like, well, have you actually gotten any money or anything from it? It's like, well, no, they haven't released the funds to me yet. So it's like all these, the red flags just keep adding up. And they're using real people, legitimate people that may or may not at some point start to think I might be involved in some larger scam. But when it gets way down to the bottom, these money mules, they think they're doing good for people and they're trying to help people out, but they're actually funneling, it's money laundering. They're just moving stolen money from somebody else through their account, and now it's going to get moved to somebody else, and then somebody else, and then back to the kingpin. And again, it's usually a small group of people that are masterminding these whole plans, and then they have handlers that are handling the money mules. They have it's very elaborate, involved. Easy money. So hopefully this plays.
Are nothing new, but thanks to artificial intelligence, they are getting more sophisticated and more believable. Scam artists are now using AI to clone voices to trick unsuspecting victims. CBS's Carter Evans takes a look at this frightening new technology in our continuing series, The Age of AI.
Jennifer DeStefano will never forget the frantic call she got from her 15-year-old daughter, Brianna.
And she was, Mommy, Simon, help me, help me, help me, help me. And this man gets on very aggressive, listening her as her daughter, and then that's when I went into panic mode.
The man demanded $1 million.
I said that was impossible. So then he came up with the $50,000.
She never paid the money and would soon learn the call was a popular AI scam. New software can recreate the voices of loved ones in distress, and scammers use that to ask for large sums of money.
This man comes on the phone. He said, you're going to give me $5,000.
I heard our daughter on the phone. It was unmistakably her.
Americans lost nearly $9 billion to fraud last year alone, up more than 150% in just 2 years.
Younger people experience fraud and fraud losses more often than older people. But since that older adult who has so much to lose.
Cybersecurity expert Pete Nicoletti created my voice from old news reports online. What you're about to hear is something I never said. Hey, this is Carter. I need your credit card number right now. I mean, that really sounded like me.
It is you. It's cloning you. It's AI Carter.
To test it out, we call my mother. Hey, I'm about to do an interview, but I have a quick question. I need you to text me your driver's license number as soon as you can. She fell for the fake voice.
That's so terrible.
We just scammed my mom. Did you just get a call from me?
Asking for my driver's license number.
Yes. That was an AI generated voice. Oh,
Scary.
this is the real me now.
We live in a post-real society. You can't trust the voice, you can't trust the photo, and you can't trust the video anymore.
Our voice is like a fingerprint, and that's that unique fingerprint that's being exploited and weaponized. It has to stop.
And Nora, the technology is really improving. Soon, scammers will be able to react instantly to anything you say by converting their voice into the voice of your loved one in real time.
Carter, this is scary stuff, really eye-opening. So what can people do to protect themselves?
Well, there's a couple of things you can do right away. And the first thing is to create a safe word that only your family is going to know. Secondly, you want to make your social media accounts private. Don't give that information away to potential scammers to use against you. And finally, if you get one of these calls, hang up, call them back, make sure they're really in trouble.
Carter Evans, thank you.
Don't use your pet's name. Don't use anything that's easily looked up on the internet. Come up with some random word that you can use if somebody's really needs help from you. That's another one my mother would never fall for. She'd be like, yeah, you're in jail. You're stuck there. I don't care.
So Steve and my other colleague created these a few years back. These are kind of little mailer cards that we would have patrol officers give to victims of scams or anything like that. Just kind of some reminders of things, what to do. This QR code, if you scan, this is not me trying to scam you. This goes directly to the FBI's IC3.
It doesn't work.
No, I just changed it.
Oh,
The IC3.gov website, which is the FBI's database of reporting financial online cyber crimes. So we have the ability as investigators to see the back end of that and search that database. So this is actually how the IC3 report, how I found the company in Texas that got scammed with the victim that we had in Hyannis. Money was being sent to this lady's TD account in Florida. When I got the records back, I saw this company in Texas that had a $200,000 wire transfer into that account as well, and reached out to the company. So talking to the lady in Florida, she's like, oh yeah, this guy Brian in Canada says he owns this water pyramids company. I'm like, that's not legitimate, because I actually talked to the real company in Texas. And luckily he filed an IC3 report of the transaction that happened, everything. So reached out to him, and on the IC3 report, if there's ever, so we'll tell people to file IC3 report and a police report as well. So in the IC3 report, there's a spot to put investigators' names who you reported it. So unfortunately, there was no investigator's name, so that's why I had to reach out to the victim of this company directly, and he said he never reported to the police as well. So that's why I had him go to the police. So now we're trying to get money that we seized down in Florida, partial funds back to his company from the scam.
This is a very important step. Like Chris was saying, I was able to get money back for people in other parts of the country because I do a search warrant on a bad actor's bank account. I get the bank account, I see wires from other places. I have no idea where these other people are. I put it in IC3 and I'm like, oh, this person lives in Washington State. Here's the investigator. I'm able to call the investigator. Hey, I'm going to seize this money. We're going to send you a cashier's check for $40,000. You give it back to your victim. If the information wasn't in there, there'd be no way for me to know.
So we have some of these cards on the back table there. That QR code on the back table is broken. It doesn't exist anymore. So the one that is here is the correct code. So if you want to scan that, just to have it.
The other great thing about these cards is we haven't made it to jail. Doesn't cost us anything.
But if you forget, it's just the letter C, and then 3.gov. IC3.gov. Super easy.
I keep getting in the way. The poor people that are gonna watch this later, all they see is me.
All right, so just to recap, there's a lot of don'ts. Don't answer the phone from unknown numbers. Don't open emails from unknown persons and click links. Do not use crypto ATMs, period. Do not use gift cards to make payments when requested. Contact bank directly with questions. Do not call numbers listed in text messages or emails. Contact family, friend, or police before you send money before it is too late. I know
All this stuff is very scary,
It
right?
is,
We go
yeah,
through all this
it's
stuff and say, all this terrible stuff's coming at you all the time, right? It's not happening all the time, right? Most of these people, most of you guys probably had a couple of these text messages or maybe a phone call, but all you have to do is be vigilant, right? Be vigilant, have some monitoring, freeze your credit, very important. And what are we going to do if this happens? Report it. It's very, very important.
Yeah, it's a very underreported crime. A lot of people, if it's a couple $100 here or there, that's not a lot lost to them. But that report to us might generate 30 other victims that we can identify that had the same thing happen to them. This QR code is real. This is my information on there if you want to scan that. Yeah, I'm glad you guys took your Friday morning to go.
Sorry to kind of cut people off there. They just wanted us to try to get this recorded and before we took any questions. So please, any questions now you want to ask? Did everybody?
I'm going to pause the recording right now, so I'll put the screen back up in a second.
Yeah.